supposed to do, or that we normally do. Let me start with the ODPP staff. ODPP staff are public officers, and they are also key players in the criminal justice system. They are therefore supposed to discharge their duties with a lot of professionalism, accountability to the public, and also should exhibit utmost integrity in the discharge of their duties. They are thus obliged to conduct themselves in accordance with the highest ethical standards while delivering prosecution services to the people of Kenya. On the aspect of professionalism and integrity and accountability, the office has initiated several reforms. Some of them are structural, organization structure. Others are in policy documents that are supposed to guide ODPP officers in the manner they are supposed to discharge their duties. On the organizational structure, the DPP has reorganized the organizational structure and created 6 departments. Yesterday, you are taken through our organizational structure, so I will not dwell much on that, but I want to pick on Inspectorate and Quality Assurance Department. This department was established on 1st October 2020, and the aim of the department was to offer oversight and accountability mechanism to ODPP operations, and also to guard against the abuse of discretion bestowed upon prosecution counsel. Yesterday, we were reminded that prosecutors enjoy enormous powers. By the stroke of their pen, somebody goes to prison. And therefore, the DPP, the office found it necessary to open a department, to establish a department that will check against the abuse of discretion bestowed upon the prosecution counsels. So the aim of the Inspectorate is to ensure quality services are offered to the people of Kenya, and also entrench a culture of integrity and professionalism. The Inspectorate has three departments. That is Inspectorate and Quality Assurance Division. It has 3 divisions: Internal Compliance and Ethics Divisions, Complaints and Compliments Division. We also have a unit for investigators who are police officers seconded from National Police Service. These officers assist us with investigations where there are allegations of misconduct or ethical conduct. Let me explain a little bit about the Inspectorate and Quality Assurance Division. This division conducts inspections of prosecution operations throughout the Republic, and makes recommendations to the DPP on the way that we can improve on our services. We also monitor prosecutions conducted by other institutions with delegated prosecutions to ensure that the quality of the prosecutions they are offering are in accordance with our standards. There are many other functions. I've just quoted a few. We have Complaints and Compliments Division. The division deals with complaints from members of the public with regard to access to justice. We received all manner of complaints because members of the public do not understand our mandate. So some complaints received from criminal justice system are in regard to access to justice. Maybe they complain about their cases, the slow pace of investigations or hearing. So when we get these complaints, we refer them to the relevant investigative agencies or the agencies concerned for smooth running for smooth handling of the complaints. We also have Internal Compliance and Ethics Division. This is a division that investigates professional and ethical misconduct against ODPP staff. The allegations list from any written law, our code of conduct for prosecutors, ODPP policies, or any other statute that deals with integrity. The division of complaints, the divisions of internal compliance division also sensitizes staffs on the programs that enables the staff to understand their obligations in terms of integrity, their ethical behavior, and their professional standards. So through this division, the office is able to hold staff accountable to their decisions and thereby improve the quality of prosecutions. We have developed guidelines to guide us on how to conduct investigations on ethical behavior or professional misconduct. They are available. I do not wish to take you through the guidelines. We have also developed a framework on how to conduct inspections to ensure that ODPP is offering quality services. I will also not take you through the guidelines, but they will be availed. Once they are publicized, they will be availed to you. So the department has been there since last year, but the internal compliance division we have operated for 3 years. But within those 3 years, we have seen some improvement or some impact. And this is what I want to discuss through today. We find that through investigations of professional misconduct and ethical behavior, the prosecutors are held accountable to the decision they make, and also to their conduct throughout the proceedings. And through these investigations, we have seen an improvement on the level of integrity and professionalism. And this was discussed yesterday by Mr. Mure when he proved to you that there is an increase in conviction of cases and a level of integrity. Because through these prosecutions, we are able to identify complaints that have no merit. And prosecutors have been exonerated. So they have the confidence that they will not be victimized by accused persons or other parties who have interest in the criminal justice, because we have put in mechanism to investigate those complaints. And for those that have no merit, we dismiss and we accordingly inform the complainants and the prosecutors. But for those who have been found culpable, the DPP has a disciplinary mechanism in place. We have our ODPP Human Resource Manual that provides for disciplinary proceedings. All our discipline cases are handled by 2 committees, the Human Resource Advisory Committee, and for the senior members, the ODPP board. So after due process is followed, our officers are disciplined accordingly. And the disciplinary actions range from warning to dismissal from service. This has acted as a deterrence for most of our officers, and there is an improvement in the manner they conduct themselves. The Internal Compliance Division has also conducted trainings on the newly prosecuted prosecutors whom we have sent to the field. This is meant to make them ensure that they understand their professional and ethical and integrity obligations as they join the DPP. So we sent the last officers, prosecution officers, I think 4 months ago, and they were properly inducted. So henceforth, every new officer joining the DPP will also be inducted on the ethical and professional obligations. The department has also conducted data verification exercise throughout the country to confirm or to ensure that the data submitted from our counties is accurate and it's verifiable. Yesterday, we presented data on crime mapping. That crime mapping is based on the data that we have received from our county offices. So once again, I would say that the IQ has developed a framework of inspections of ODPP operations, and we project to at least conduct prosecution operations, inspections, at least on 2 regions this financial year due to financial constraints. The department has plans to undertake training to the public and also to the other interagencies on the functions of the department so that we can raise awareness that the ODPP is very keen in ensuring that our officers are persons of high standards of integrity. We also plan to ask for more funds. Inspections requires a lot of traveling and a lot of funds. So we'll be seeking more funds from our development partners and also from the ODPP. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard. I think we'll take this opportunity to get responses, questions, views from the participants. Yes. Who is holding the mic? Sanitize the mic.
Mine is perhaps an observation on the presentation by Madam Grace. I'm actually surprised that the ODPP, the office of the ODPP, has a department that deals with the internal compliance, also dealing with the complaints, particularly from the members of the public. But maybe this is something that has not been known, particularly we people in the media, and maybe quite a number of Kenyans are not aware of the existence of such a kind of unit or department. There have been several complaints actually from people who feel aggrieved. So perhaps the ODPP should give or go out and give a public awareness on the existence of this unit. Maybe the way the office of the DPP was formed, particularly with the appointment of the current DPP, it was kind of like a creation or a reincarnation of a new Jesus Christ who came to save the world. But then the office of the DPP under Haji maybe remained patched up there in the skies with the heaven, with the angels, if they so exist. They forgot that they was meant to actually serve members of the public who live on the earth. And they have always remained up there in the skies. Maybe you come back to the ground and live with us.
Thank you, noted. More questions? Yes, sir. Kindly assist. Who else? Raise your hand so that we just...
Thank you. Mrs. Murungi, I don't know if this point escaped me in your presentation, but I didn't hear you talk about the welfare of prosecutors, especially social and security, psychological and security welfare. Because these guys, especially the ones at the local level, at the end of the day, after prosecuting someone, they will go back and live amongst people they faced in court. How have you ensured that their security amongst, when they are done with their work, their security is assured? Secondly, these guys are interacting with sometimes gory evidence. You know, images of people who have been murdered. You know, images that personally I can't. How do you ensure that after that, their psychological welfare is well taken care of? Thank you.
Thank you. Next person.
My question is, now that we have, how do you deal with prosecutors who are very, very unkind to the media? Especially for us who go to court, we encounter some prosecutors. Can we also lodge complaints as the media against prosecutors?
You will have to substantiate the nature of unkindness. How?
Hello. Correct me if I'm wrong, but listening to the presentation, I didn't hear you mention about the department that deals with media and communication. Doesn't the media, I thought the media should be at the core of your operations. Because what my Now, let me be straight. Do you have the Department of Communication and Media that deals, maybe press releases, somebody who can answer questions, who is ready to answer concerns of the media? Because I didn't hear you talk about it. If you talked about it, sorry, but I didn't hear. And that speaks volumes about what my friend was referring to. You guys live in utopia, so please come back on earth.
Dear participants, I have just a small request. As you speak, please just give me, even if it is just one name, just give me a name so that we keep track of the questions. I'm trying to read your name tags.
My name is Wanyama.
Huh?
Wanyama.
Wanyama.
Yeah.
Tuko wanyama wengi kwa hii.
Did you ask a question?
My name is Wawero Wanyambura.
My name is Paul Ogemba.
I think his question was clear. No, and Grace, you are taking also questions. I'm just trying to catch up. How many can you handle? Can we have her answer one set of questions, or you think that's enough for you for now? Then we take another round. Okay, madam, can you please give her a clean mic, or you have one there? As she comes, there is a question about prosecutors handling grisly evidence. And I've told you myself and Grace, we've been here for close to 3 decades. As a prosecutor of murder, I just want to give a life story. I prosecuted a case where a house help was accused of murder. He murdered I think a 9-year-old baby, putting the baby in a bucket of water, alafu akafunika. Ikawa mtoto amepotea, akatafutwa the whole day, and then somewhere around the night, somebody decided to just open randomly, and they found the baby there. The picture tormented me for a long time, just seeing that picture. The second one was another person somewhere in Eastland, sijui ni Makongeni ama wapi, who decided to cut he had problems with his wife, so he decided to slaughter the baby, 5-year-old boy. Very healthy, chubby boy, alafu akakatakata in pieces, kaweka kwa refrigerator, and it was, the images were terrible. So those are just some, so this picture is real. Grace, you just come, because there has been no structure so far to deal with that impact that our work has on us. Madam Grace, please take the floor.
Thank you for those questions. To continue from where Tabitha has stopped, We do not have any psychosocial support programs so far. We have just been managing the way that with all those problems we have survived. But the human resource is coming up with programs of social support programs where we can be able to be offered counseling services. And I'm sure that we are getting there. But for now, we have officers who need those services. So what we normally do, we refer them to the government counselors. We book appointments and they are able to advise them. So where need arises, we rely on external counselors, but we are in the process of coming up with programs to assist our officers. On security, for a long time, prosecutors have not had any security. Just prosecute, you go home and you meet the accused persons. But what we normally advise them is that in case of threats, they just report to the DCI or the police, who will investigate and take action. If the accused person is already in court, we can apply to court in case he threatens our witnesses or the prosecutors. But I'm sure as we develop, I'm sure we'll be able to come up with programs that can be able to assist us. But I'll ask Ridian, the Chief of Staff, to comment on that.
It's okay. I was just Let me start with the question as to whether we are living in utopia or not, and refer back to my discussions or conversation yesterday about going to the community. And with the last, I think on Tuesday, we were in Kayole. So I do not know whether to say we are living in utopia or we are living within the community. But what I would say that the evidence we have is we've been to various communities. We've held community dialogues. We were in Mombasa, we were in Lamu, we were in Homa Bay, we were in Siaya. And when we were in Mombasa, we were able to open justice centers. So what we are doing is we are partnering with our friends like Haki Africa. We've opened some offices with them in Changamwe. We also have a Void Justice Center. I think we partnered with Haki Africa. Then we have Sisters for Justice. We partnered with Sisters for Justice. There's an organization called that. And just the other day, as I stated earlier on, we partnered with IGM to launch Kayole Community Justice Center. So what happens in these justice centers? We dedicate 1 or 2 prosecutors to work closely with the centers so that if there are any issues, then we are able to resolve them at the center. So I'm hoping with that, I'm able to dissuade you of the opinion that we are living in utopia. What we are actually doing is that we've seen a paradigm shift in terms of how we prosecute our matters and how we reach out to the community and ensure that the decisions we are making are impacting. And I think I gave an example of touting, an offense that we discovered when we went to Kayole. And since then we have given guidelines and we're not charging officers, we're not charging suspects with the offense of touting. So my answer is no, we do not live in utopia, we're living within the community and we have the paradigm shift in the prosecutions. So the other question was the issue of the welfare of the prosecutors. And of course, the cases we're going through sometimes they traumatize.
And I was just whispering to my seniors here, because they are more senior than me in the profession and even within the office, that they've forgotten that we have a very comprehensive cover that includes counseling services. And personally, I've had to take prosecutors for counseling. So whereas it may not be at that level where we expect it to be, it is already there and it's covered, and whenever there's need, it's taken care of. The other issue that was raised was the issue of protection. Again, one of the challenges I mentioned here was the security of the prosecutors. And again, we say that if you're threatened as a prosecutor, usually you escalate it and then you're given protection, especially those who are handling complex cases. And I know some of us already have the security, whether or not you're threatened, they have the security. I'm hoping that with that, I've covered most of the questions that were answered. Oh, just to give you a glimpse of how we are serious about the welfare. When the COVID set in, I think we are among the first government offices that were able to completely have our prosecutors be vaccinated. And at the same time, when it started, we were able to give them, we provided masks, we gave them vitamin C, we gave them even just other medicine that was necessary as protective, to be able to prepare for the COVID. And we immediately issued the guidelines, and we are working from the house, or rather from our homes, and went digital. So we are very keen to ensure that officers that are working with us are properly taken care of in terms of health-wise, welfare, and also we did not just say, but I think when the DPP got into office, he quickly negotiated with SRC and our salaries were enhanced. So we may not be there, but it's a journey that has begun and we can see the fruits of that journey. I hope I've covered all the questions that were raised with regards to welfare. The issue of those who are unkind to the media. I think that's why we are here, to unpack what we do and unpack what the media does. Once we all appreciate our roles, then we'll be able to be nice to one another. Because we can also say, and this question was raised yesterday, I don't know whether it was answered. Why is it that when a prosecutor is vigorously prosecuting a case in court, it's not reported? And the minute the defense says something small, it takes like half the page, while the prosecutor was just like, the matter was prosecuted by so-and-so. Whereas they'll say the defense counsel so-and-so opposed, called this number of witnesses, and this happened. So I think it's a two-way. We feel that we are not properly covered when we are doing well. We're only covered when we don't have a witness. The prosecutor did not have a witness to prosecute today. And the day you've gotten a conviction, no one will say there's a conviction that was secured by a prosecutor. So I think this is why we are here, to be able to understand what do you do as a media person, as a journalist, and what do I do as a prosecutor? How then can we be able to partner and ensure that the community that we've been called to serve is getting the accurate information in a timely manner? Thank you.
There was a question whether we have media and communication department. Yes, we have a department called Public Affairs and Corporate Communication Divisions. They're the ones who have invited us here today. Probably we'll get a presentation on what they do before we leave this place. Thank you.
Yeah, just my name is Paul. Two things.
We are now in the second set of questions, so prepare if you have a question. So Paul, I have seen so many Pauls. Paul who? I've noted so many Pauls in my other session.
Yeah, my name is Paul Ilado.
Okay.
Just a quick follow-up to what you said last. If there's a department, it would be nice to know who is in the department and share their contacts, because that will be useful. So then we are able to speak to them as and when it's necessary. But two questions. One, who oversights the DPP and how does that work? We've seen a bit of petitions going all over. Is that the right way? where is room for judicial review for the decisions that the DPP makes. Two, we hear cases of rogue prosecutors. They come to court late, they come to court drunk, some don't even come to court. Others conspire to defeat the same justice they're supposed to deliver. Have you had cases like that in the recent past? How many and how did you deal with them?
I didn't get your question, please.
You didn't hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can I repeat everything?
Your question.
Sorry?
The last part of
The last question.
Yes.
Okay. I'm speaking about rogue prosecutors. Rogue in the sense that, you know, they don't adhere to your charter, which speaks of integrity. Some don't come to court, and if they do, sometimes others come drunk or ill-prepared. Others outrightly, you know, work with the other side to defeat the same justice they're supposed to deliver. I wonder how rampant that is, and are there any examples that you've dealt with in the recent past, and how did you deal with them?
Thank you. No more questions? Okay, Madam Grace, you have your own mic there.
On the question on who oversights the DPP, I'll give my colleague, Mr. Mule. I want to respond to the one on indiscipline on the part of prosecution counsels. I must admit that we have received quite a number of complaints touching on the conduct of our prosecutors. This comes to us by way of complaints even from the judiciary. They write to the DPP. They are prompt to notify the DPP where there are no counsels in court or our counsels have misbehaved. And when they do that, we go to the ground, we investigate. We file a report with the DPP. And if the misconduct is, if there's sufficient evidence, they are subjected to disciplinary proceedings. That's why I explained that under our human resource manual, they are given a hearing, a fair hearing, and a decision is made. A disciplinary action is made where there is evidence. However, in terms of drunkenness, we have come to appreciate that drunkenness is a problem, is a sickness. So before one is disciplined, these days they are given an opportunity to go for rehabilitation. And under our NHF cover, we have that provision. The cover can take care of the rehabilitation of the officer. However, there are cases where our officers have not changed their behavior. They relapse, and that affects our court performance. In such cases, the DPP has taken action against the said officer. But the problem we have is that members of the public have not been complaining. But for those that lodge complaint, we take action and we respond. And when the decision is taken, we write back to them. However, under the inspection and quality assurance divisions, with time we intend to go to the ground and check on the quality of the work from our councils. The division is quite young. We have not commenced. We want to commence this year. I hope I have been able to answer you sufficient. Yes.
Thank you very much. The DPP is accountable, one, to the public as a state officer, because he's a state officer, so he's accountable to the public. Two, the DPP is accountable to the parliament. The DPP is supposed to file annual reports to parliament and to the president on the performance of the functions of the office. That is the second level of accountability. We file our reports annually on what we are doing. Again, we are audited as a national institution by the Auditor General each financial year to account for all monies allocated to us. And those audit reports are available to the public. Again, Article 158 of the Constitution provides for the grounds for removal of the DPP from office in case of the conditions set therein, just like another state officer are profiled. That is the nature of accountability of the DPP. And so the DPP is completely oversighted by those institutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to just make one or two observations. I'm just looking at some areas which may not have been covered by my colleagues. In our communications, public affairs and corporate communications unit, we also have a program called ODPP Cafe, which we do very regularly. Today morning, we had a session and Mr. Mule appeared on one. I think the topic was? Media, you're talking about? Engagement. Media engagement. He was being interviewed on this. So it's a very, very informative session. The only thing that I would like to find out from Anita, is Anita in the house? She's not there. Yeah, is that how far do you go to reach out to the media? Because what we do is that it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And once you get the link, you can just join in and also engage our panelists. You can ask questions. So we are really not in utopia. The other one mechanism we are using is that we send our prosecutors, wherever they are stations all over the regions and counties, they visit the local radio stations, and most of the time they are in vernacular stations. You will find them sensitizing members of the public on topical issues. So we are really trying to reach out. We may not say that we are at 100%, but you being the members of the Fourth Estate, you can make suggestions to us as to how we can enhance or work better with what we already have or improve on what we have. So I also want to just comment on the issue of security of prosecutors. You know, we all work in an environment where all of us, none of us here, even in this room, can say, I am 100% safe. Even by virtue of just being a media person, you can always imagine that someone else might feel offended by what you have reported, isn't it? And your life can be in danger. So you just walk by faith, and you believe that it is God who protects you. So I like giving my personal encounters about a man I was prosecuting for murder. He used to purport to be selling a car, an old car parked in his home in Kiambu, and then get a client. The only witness is his wife. The moment you arrive with your 70,000, he would hit your head here with some metal, and then they bury you in the pit latrine, wanabomoa you, and he killed like several people. So when he was found out, he started confessing. Na ile ingine niliua sijui 1980 what, na ile ingine. And when the police went to the homestead, they found several pit latrines, and they dug and they could remove bones and bodies and all that. And then when I was prosecuting him, he was an old man, and every time he was leaving the courtroom in Ipingu, he'd walk out and come to my desk and say, malizeni hii kesi haraka, hata kama mnaninyonga, mninyonge. Or he'd come and tell me, munachelewesha kesi wewe madam, fanya haraka nataka kunyongwa. But I didn't feel threatened. I just felt that this guy is somebody who is not in his right senses. I never felt threatened. Other times I found people had been prosecuting. They would pass by, because they would cross from one door to the dock. And they would pass and say, sasa madam, habari ya leo nataka hii kesi iendelee, msicheleweshe, sitaki adjournment, you know. So I got to realize that these people appreciate that you are doing your work, and not that they are really against you. But there are some random cases when we are, because even if you were to have a security person walking behind you every minute, you still can't be 100% sure that if somebody is after you, they will not get you. There'll always be that moment when you'll be alone. So I just want us to just embrace a culture of security, you know, just be confident and believe in what you are doing. Most of the time when you find some funny murders, you'll always find that there's something fishy that was going on under the ground. But I believe that when you are walking forthrightly, you walk in God's favor. And somehow the threat is reduced. That's just my take. So we wind up this session. Unless there's a burning issue, please, nisaidie na mic.
Just two issues. My name is Oyuga, if you are interested in my name. Just two issues. I think on the issue of the Office of the Public Communication within the ODPP, you kind of scattered it around. You are not very specific. What we are requesting is just like when you want to deal with the police, you go to a certain human being called Bruno. You wanted to deal with the State House, you go to Kansa Dena. You wanted to deal with the DOD, you go to somebody. There are two guys there, or Bongita, or there's another canon. So in the office of the DPP, who do you go to? We just want to have that specific. Then the issue also, Lillian also mentioned the ODPP moving to do away with the prosecution of toting guys. But you go outside there, whether in Nakuru, Kitale, guys are still being rounded up by the police or the county askaris, taken to the cells, but they never reach courts. Actually, this has opened another platform for Kulamboga, they usually call it so, or bribes by the police and the city askaris. Why can't you make this into a law so that every Kenyan knows that there's nothing to be charged with toting?
Which touting? Lillian. We have a division on communications, and our Caroline is actually with us here. She's the host, and I'm told she has stepped out a bit. But I want Lillian to come and comment on some of the topical issues. Grace also, you can say.
Okay, Lillian will comment about Public Affairs Division, which falls under Secretariat. And it's a very active department. I think she'll talk briefly about it. On the city askaris arresting people and failing to take them to court, I want to tell you that the DPP has taken over the prosecutions of all cases. City County was prosecuting their cases on behalf of the DPP. Right from the beginning when we were with the Attorney General. But when the DPP came in, he degazetted all those prosecutors from other agencies. And he directed that we take over those cases. He has now developed guidelines and the criteria on how to appoint prosecutors for delegated prosecutions. So far, we have not appointed, I think prosecutors for city court or city county matters have not been appointed. And yesterday, DPP kept saying that it would be very difficult for DPP to know that some people have been arrested if he's not brought a file. Or if nobody files a complaint to the DPP to bring these matters to his attention. So I think we need to sensitize the members of the public more that in case they suffer any violation of their rights, they have a right to complain to the DPP, who can then make a follow-up and call for the file and advise accordingly. Thank you. So I'll ask Mrs. Obuo to talk about our communication division.
So I hope I'm able to clarify. Indeed, we do have a division on communications. And if you notice that you guys were invited to come for this meeting through the communications department. So we have the head, which is Madam Omari, and I think she's the one who's been doing lots of communications. Then there is Rose, who is represented here. She's actually physically present here. She may have stepped out. And then within the communications, and that's where you see we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and then of course we're also having the ODPP Cafe. So we do have a division and with various tasks and responsibilities. But I do understand you, who is this contact person you're going to be talking to in case you need to be quickly cover a story or clear some facts. So again, why are we here? To make such resolutions. I'm hoping that tomorrow, one of the declarations would be that you want somebody that you can be easily, someone who is accessible and you're able to get that information. And hopefully by the end of tomorrow, we'll be having that declaration and you'll be given a name for the person to be the contact person. So I'm humbly requesting for your indulgence up to tomorrow when we'll have decided on the person to be the point person, the liaison person between the media and the ODPP. That notwithstanding, we do have a division that runs that particular, with expertise on that particular section of the office. Thank you, and I think I'm going to usurp Madam Tabitha's powers and say that we need to go for lunch because time is run so that we can be able to come back and meet our obligations in the afternoon.
Thank you. I wanted just to add on the issue of touting and the transport business, that there's a new development that now, because of crowding in courts, it has been decided that you appear in the police station responsible for your arrest, and you will join court virtually. That's what I discovered the other day. You discovered court virtually, and then you pay the fine if you are plead guilty, and that's it. And I know that it is us, members of the public, who are condoning corruption by the police officers because you want the easy way out. You always prefer to give them 1,000, 2,000 so that you don't go to court. But we can engage in that debate later. So with those few remarks and many, many responses, I want to extend welcome to our lunch, and we resume at 2:30. Do you want to appreciate, let us appreciate Grace and all the people who have responded to the questions. Asanteni. Let's break for lunch.